came into the world in the same way, utterly dependent for food, shelter, for comfort. So it makes sense that as we grow, we're taught the vital skills of independence, how to tie our shoes and pack a lunch, one day drive a car, earn a living. The message we hear, especially in Western society, is that this ability to do things all on our own is the very definition of success. We end up in pursuit of independence as the pinnacle. Yet in North America today, half of workers declare that they are burned out. And among parents, it's even worse, with studies showing that nearly 70% of parents feel totally overwhelmed by the daily juggle of responsibilities. The US Surgeon General recently declared loneliness a public health crisis, with health risks equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day, raising the risk of depression, dementia, even premature death. So here we are in our modern society with every convenience at our fingertips, making independence ever more accessible, and technology allowing us to be more connected than any time in history, and yet somehow we're more overwhelmed, more alone. For me, this hit just 6 years ago when we moved into a single-family dwelling right here. Up until then, I'd lived this life of collective care. My childhood home was characterized by hospitality and welcome. And then my husband and I spent nearly a decade living in intentional community, where we shared meals and work and daily rhythms with other singles and families, raising our children and sharing the load together. So when we moved into our local neighborhood, I took for granted how normal it had always been to have community, this village around me. And very quickly, I realized, oh, this is how most people do it, alone. At the end of that first week, I remember looking at my husband and saying, is this really it? You and me, as the adults in this house, we're responsible for everything, to go to work and earn the income and then look after the kids and the home and the garden and then cook and clean up dinner 5 nights a week. And he looked at me and he so compassionately just said, oh, my love, there are 7 nights in a week. It hit. Not long after, I got a migraine, and as I lay in bed, I got a little existential, and I started to think, what if this is something serious? Who is going to get my kids to school? Who is going to help get me to the doctor and organize the meal train? I was overwhelmed and alone. That was when I knew I needed to build community. Because when life is easy and we feel resourced, independence is empowering. But in times of crisis, difficulty, independence is not enough. We need interdependence. In independence, the story is, I've got this. But in independence, the story becomes, we've got this together. And what a relief. Because on my own, I have limits in skills, in resources, in energy. Don't we all? When I look around the room, though, there are so many skills available here that I don't have, and unlimited capacity and potential. Interdependence is a way of life where we don't just trade help for dollars or my time for yours, but we actually invest in a web of care big enough to hold us all. when we all look out beyond ourselves, we know we can do it together. And what a relief. What a relief. The web of care is built in the giving and the receiving. Shortly after moving here, we brought a meal to new parents up the block. At first, they were surprised and quick to say, oh, we'll have to bring you a meal sometime. And I assured them, no, we've already been given to. And it's out of that care that we can show up for you. Because this is how we weave the web of care, orienting towards the spirit of generosity and the humility required to receive. Because there is a gift and necessity in both. Sure, independence was an important stage, but it was always one we were meant to pass through. Because true maturity, as developmental psychology describes it, is not separation, but connection. The ability to build mutual relationships of growth, where the giving and receiving strengthen us all. Our ancestors knew this instinctively. For millennia, survival depended on the village. Modern research confirms it. Belonging is as fundamental as food or shelter. And studies show that people with strong social ties live longer, healthier, happier lives. Community is not a luxury. It's essential. Now, with my background in forest ecology, I can't resist a nature metaphor. So imagine with me for a moment walking in a thriving forest. What do you see? Rich biodiversity, mosses and fungi, towering trees, ferns, birds, insects, an interconnected web where each difference strengthens the whole. Remove too many species and the whole forest collapses. Human communities are a lot like forests. It's tempting to build connections only with those who are like us. Technology even makes that easy. Social media curates circles that mirror our values, our interests, our politics. But those homogeneous connections, they're like a monocrop field, efficient but fragile. Real resilience comes when we learn to navigate conflict and collaborate with those who are right in front of us, doing so with curiosity and compassion. After all, we don't get to choose our family, our neighbors, often even our colleagues. You know the ones I'm talking about. In the village, we need all types. The families who could use an extra set of hands around, and the singles or elders seeking a place of vibrancy and belonging. Bring them together and you have a symbiotic relationship. 4 times now, we've had singles come and live with our family for a season. And yeah, it takes work to adapt to each other's rhythms. Oh, but every time, both we and they feel like the lucky ones, because true thriving is collective. I see the same patterns in my team coaching work, that what may seem like irreconcilable differences across a group of people often are the very ingredients that, when welcomed together, make them a dynamic and robust team. That's what healthy human ecosystems look like. Not monocultures, but biodiverse networks of support. So, how does technology fit into it all? Research shows that active online engagement, think video calls and meaningful chats, can strengthen bonds. But passive scrolling and shallow interactions often intensify loneliness. I work from home, and if I'm honest, on days when I feel alone, it is easy to reach for some social app. But I know I get more out of 10 minutes chatting at school pickup than I do out of an hour lost in the scroll. We don't need more technological conveniences to help make independence more accessible, or more online echo chambers of people just like us. What we need is more cups of tea shared across kitchen counters, more walking each other's kids to school, more asking for help. The ecosystems we need for resilience are the messy, diverse, local ones. And here's the good news. Rebuilding community doesn't take complex plans or grand gestures. It starts with simple practices that you can put in place right where you are today. In my Revillaging program, we orient towards these 3 simple community building skills. First and foremost, presence. Pay attention when you walk through your local places. Notice who's there and what they might have to offer or what they might need. When connecting, be where you are. Engage with true presence. Second, purpose. Be intentional with your gatherings and your conversations. Initiate or extend an invitation with clarity. Ask for help on purpose because you know that it will build connection. And finally, especially in our Western society, we need this third skill of prioritization. Prioritize people over productivity once in a while. Leave room in your schedule to connect. In a world of constant busy where demands come at us from every side, we need to radically prioritize the time and energy it takes to build true relationships of depth. Now, each of the skills of presence, purpose, and prioritization are helpful on their own, but they are most powerful if wielded together. A few years back, this cool family moved in up the block. And at first, our interactions were just in passing, bumping into each other in driveways or out in the neighborhood. But because we were both present, these chance interactions happened often. Each time I would purposefully say something to the effect of, "It was so great to chat. I would love for our families to connect more intentionally." Just planting a seed for a deeper friendship. But life is busy, and with work and activities, that purposeful intention wasn't quite enough. Eventually, though, along with a few other families, we layered in a commitment to prioritize connecting. Now, we share meals together twice a month, and our kids run in and out of each other's homes up and down the block. We swap tomato seedlings and child care. We lend each other tools, and we share meaningful moments of life and listening with each other. It's the village, right on our block. Now, if you're not convinced that you want this kind of intimate weave of connection with your neighbors, the beauty here is that the same skills of purpose, presence, and prioritization that make us good villagers are the same ones that help to strengthen our family relationships. Think deeper conversations around the dinner table, and our workplace cultures, better collaboration, and our friendships, locally and across time zones. So take them with you, because community is not something we stumble into. It's something we practice and cultivate and remember in our bones. So perhaps my invitation is simply this: to stop striving for independence as the highest ideal. The world doesn't need us exhausted trying to carry it all alone. It needs us resourced and connected, a thriving ecosystem of care where each part sustains the whole. Because the cure for loneliness isn't more scrolling or more sameness. It's in giving and receiving with the neighbor across the street, the colleague we might overlook, the family we didn't choose, and the village we consciously reweave. Like the forest, our strength lies not in standing alone, but in being rooted together, different, diverse, yet interconnected. When we live as villagers again, we'll remember what we've always known, that the richest ecosystems and the richest lives are those we build together.